קדוש, קדוש, קדוש. Mayor?
Laura, can you hear me?
I hear you, but I don't see myself.
Okay, so hang on 1 second. Let me just adjust something here. What the hell is going on here? Oh my God. What is this? Yep, you better log back on.
What seems to be the problem?
I don't know.
There's no video.
Yeah, I know.
Before you didn't hear, but I have video. Maybe we should close it down and we'll.
Okay, so log off. I'm gonna log off and we'll start again.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Now I see myself. You hear me? You hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. You see me?
Let me just get the right window here. 1 sec. No. Okay. 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 Are you up on the
You
mount?
ready to go?
Okay. Yeah. Let me turn it on. 1 second. Where is it? We are live. Okay, 1 second, Baruch. That's something. Okay. One more second. Okay. Okay, we're ready to go.
Okay. Should I start?
Okay, welcome everyone to Never Again Live. I'm Mayor Weinstein, and I'm joined with Baruch Ben Yosef, who's up on the Temple Mount. This week's Parsha is Parsha VeYikra. We've been covering a lot in the past few weeks with the various Parshiot, and very important to get the message across from IHRA. Baruch will give explanation about this particular Parsha, and we'll also be discussing a lot about the Temple Mount, how it relates, and what's going on today. We sent a petition to the government of Israel asking for metal detectors be placed at the entrances to Har Bayit because of Islamic jihadist gangs that want to attack Jews. And we're also asking for the implementation of the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism on Har Bayit to restrict those who incite hatred and violence against Jews. We're going forward. There's a lot of Jews that want to visit the Temple Mount, especially as we get closer to Pesach. Baruch, go ahead, fill us in.
Okay. So you see there are lots of Jews here today. So Kodesh, they're in the middle of davening. Kadosh, and I right now the same Kedusha. So, okay. As you said, the Parsha VeYikra, and it's also Rosh Chodesh Nisan, the first day of the month of Nisan. Very important day. That's why we delayed our Torah class till today, Thursday, the first of Nisan. So, the last few weeks since we started the program, we've been talking basically about the building of the tabernacle, which is obviously a precursor to the building of the temple. Do you hear me double? Do you hear me fine?
I can hear you
Oh,
fine.
great. I hear a reverberation, so I don't know why. In any event, in front of us, we're already on the eastern side. In front of us is the place of the temple, and we're standing here next to the eastern wall. You see here all the Jews. Lots of Jews today came up, bigger than the usual crowd. And of course, today is also, since it's the beginning of Nisan, it's also the beginning of the month of Ramadan for the Muslims, which bodes not well for the Jewish people, because tens of thousands of Arabs and Muslims come up here to file the Temple Mount, obviously angering God and Hashem, that instead of his temple and his people being here, the people that defile the Temple Mount and pray to the God of evil, facing Mecca, facing south, they defile the place. If anybody looks up some old pictures of the tens or hundreds of thousands of Arabs up here on Ramadan, they stand basically inside the Al-Aqsa Mosque, or in between Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. The Dome of the Rock is the place of the temple, and they bow down with their behind facing facing the temple, meaning that the whole purpose of their existence here is to defile the temple, to curse God, the real God, the true God, and moreover than that, they also obviously act violently. They often riot. As you know, they riot, and they've even killed policemen up here during the Ramadan. So, like you said, as you mentioned, we started this program. We want to renew the effort to put metal detectors at every entrance to the Temple Mount, which should be the case, since they put a metal detector in one entrance, which is the entrance for the Jews and the tourists. Like, we're the big bad people, and they're great righteous people who don't need to be checked. So obviously, the situation has to be corrected, and we're going to take legal efforts to do so. Mayor, you're leading the fight. I'm right behind you. I got your back, and we're going to try to use every possibility, every venue that is out there, legal and political, to get that done. A reminder for those who didn't hear me previously mention it, that right after the two policemen were killed here uh, during the Ramadan, two Druze policemen were killed here years ago. Metal detectors were put at the entrances of all the entrances of the Temple Mount because they had obviously snuck in guns. There was a shootout here on the Temple Mount. So these are our so-called Israeli Arabs, from the Galilee, our Arabs. So, so Rabbi Kahana would say,
Right.
and then right after that, the head of police in Jerusalem put metal detectors at every entrance, and the Arabs started coming up. So we came up; it was empty, just Jews and policemen. That's all there was, and it was great. And then we ran into the head of the police was up here, and I said to him, "Don't take down the metal detectors." He said to me, "Don't worry. The second a cop says to you, don't worry, you better be worried." And of course, with a matter of day. Okay, here. This is my son, Malkiel. You know Malkiel, right, man?
Yes.
Okay. Yid Shalom, man. No, Shalom.
Shalom.
All this stuff.
Other stuff.
Okay. So, uh, the, uh, he told me, don't worry. And of course, the pressure came down on Netanyahu. Netanyahu, Netanyahu collapsed as usual because he's incapable of standing up to the Goyim, to the nations of the world, and he constantly collapses. Now he's collapsing again. He's giving in to the threats of the anarchists and the left wing in Israel, and the new government is failing in its effort to correct the legal system in Israel, which I don't think could be corrected. I think it should be dismantled and rebuilt with a real Jewish legal system. As we discussed up here on the Temple Mount, is not only the site of the temple, but it's the site of the Sanhedrin, the court of 71 judges sat here in partially inside the holy part of Temple Mount and partially outside the holy part of Temple Mount. And from here, they taught Torah to the entire Jewish people, to the entire world. And we're missing that, obviously, because until that happens, there is no unification of Jewish law, Jewish custom, and ritual. So everybody does what they feel like. You know, they bring these customs over here from Poland, as Rabbi would kind of say, minced and pinced,
Yeah.
and Morocco and Yemen. And instead of there being one law for the Jewish people, there's God knows how many. We're over here now in the area where we have the usually the rabbi talks here. He's not talking today, I guess, because there's so many people come today. We're going to be short on time, so we won't be stopping here to hear the rabbis uh, uh, Torah midrash, but we'll keep walking around, and you see a lot of people today, which is great. You know, it's great that we have a lot of Jews, but because it's a special day, we need every day, all day. We need to change the entire what they call status quo, or end the status quo.
Right.
So what's going to happen here on Ramadan? The month of Ramadan is that the Jews are not allowed up here in the afternoon. The status quo, the simple status quo, is not kept. The Jews are only allowed up here in the morning, and that's why also why so many people now, because the people that need to come in the afternoon are not coming up in the morning. So that's where we stand. The month of Nisan is, of course, a very special month, and it's a very special day. This was the day that Moses, our leader, erected the tabernacle in the desert. So we discussed again building the tabernacle in the last month and a half, and now Today is the day that it was erected in the desert. And obviously, the throughout the entire 40 years in the desert, we had the tabernacle. We came into the land and we continued to use the tabernacle until we built what's called the tabernacle in the city of Shiloh. Shiloh, we had a half tabernacle, half temple. There were walls, but there was no roof. It was like a tent, so it was a half tabernacle, half temple, and that lasted in the city of Shiloh for 359 years, from the time that Joshua built it till it was destroyed by the Philistines, and then ultimately King David and the prophet Samuel sought out the place of the temple, found it on the Temple Mount, bought the land, as we know, right? The rabbi told us there are three places the Goyim, the Gentiles can't make any claim on: the Temple Mount that King David bought, the burial place of Joseph in the city of Shem that was built by Jacob, and the cave of the Machpelah, of course, which was in Hebron, which was built by Abraham, our forefather, who bought it to bury Sarah, and ultimately all the forefathers and all the patriarchs and the kings were buried there. Okay, now you hear they're doing Hallel now for Rosh Chodesh. Despite the fact that we were warned of us not to sing and not to pray, but they say one thing outside and a whole different dynamic takes place inside. So anybody wants to pray on the Temple Mount, you're welcome to come. They can pray, say Hallel, and it's a lot different than it used to be.
It's amazing.
Okay, so we said, and now besides being the day that the tabernacle was built, we commemorate that today. But it's also, the rabbis tell us, this day is called the New Year of the Kings. Again, that's obviously very important, especially today with the political situation, and we see the total failure of democracy, so-called democracy. That democracy was good when the leftists were in control. Now that the right wing wants to take control, democracy no longer, no longer is the right way. Now it's a dictatorship of the court that they want to. That when the proof has come out, that up until now, this whole fake democracy was just a ploy to keep the courts in charge. But now that they want to make this judicial reform, suddenly the democratic elections don't mean anything to the left and the anarchists. So I think that we're seeing the end of, thank God, we're seeing the end of this evil system called democracy. And hopefully we'll be seeing very soon the renewal of the monarchy of King David's seed, what we call the Melech HaMashiach, the Messiah, the King Messiah. And that's the only way that really we can get things done. We need a king. We can't wait for some committee in the Knesset, in the parliament to,
Right.
deliberate. Should we build a temple? Where, and how, and what? Forget about it. It's not going to work. So hopefully more and more Jews will understand that. We need a monarchy. Years ago, Yossi Dayan, who was supposed to follow Rabbi Kanani, he was the director of the Kach party,
Yep.
and myself and a few other people started a campaign to renew the monarchy. Here, the rabbi now is talking while we walk, so I'm going to turn to them.
לכם, ומגיעים לכם, ואפילו אדם ראשון לא מנה בו, האבות, המלכים, וכל כדי לכם הוא עוד חודשים. ואם אחד יבוא ורוצה בקצרי למישהו, ויגיד לו חודש טוב, ויגיד לו, מה אתה אומר לי טוב? שנה טובה. צריך לדעת שהעם ישראל זה ראש השנה שלנו, זאת השנה שלכם. איך אפשר לברך את השני גם חודש, כמובן, אבל שני לברך לשנה טובה. אנחנו מתחילים שנה למלכים, לרגלים, לתרומת שנים, לעיבורים, לבתים יש אריכות, כמה וחצי. הראש השנה הזה, הוא ראש השנה שעם ישראל, החזרה על העניין הזה, הרמב"ן בפרשה, בפרשת החודש הזה לכם, עומד על זה שגאולת ישראל קשורה לדבר הזה, ולכן החזרה לדבר הזה היא חלק מגאולתנו. יש כאלה שתכנון עכשיו כל מיני, הגישון, השני, למניינם, כל מיני דברים. אנחנו עכשיו מתחילים, אנחנו היום הראשון, לא שום תאריך אחר. הדבר הזה הוא חזק מאוד אצלנו. היום, זאת עולת כל החודשי השנה. היום בבוקר אנחנו צריכים להביא תמיד שככה מתרומת הקשה. חודש שלם כולנו, תחום מחצית השקל, כולם, והיום אנחנו צריכים להביא תמיד שככה. המציאות היום היא בדיוק שככה. בדיוק היום התחילו כל מיני דברים למעלה שם. אבל אנחנו צריכים לדעת, היום אנחנו מתחילים שנה אחת במקדש, שמביאים עכשיו קורבנות, שעכשיו ההתחלה של השנה במקדש, הפסח שבו כולנו נמצא כזה, אבל עכשיו ברגעים האלו, ראש ראשי חודשים, שנה חדשה לעם ישראל, אנחנו צריכים לדעת את זה, להבין את זה, להפנים את זה כולנו, וככה נחזור להעמדת התמיד היום ביום טוב מגילת תענית, שיום טוב מגילת תענית על עניין העמדת התמיד, היום הוא עמד התמיד, אז אנחנו צריכים ביום הזה להזכור את זה, להסביר פה את עמדת התמיד במקומה.
Okay, we see here, I'll translate what the rabbi just said, but you see here already, we're getting ready for the people to come, the multitude coming for Ramadan. They have these poles up, and they have tarps so that they can stand under the tarps and to follow the Temple Mount. The rabbi basically said to we said that today is the first of Nisan, the new month, but like he said, it's really the new year of the Jews. It's not the first of Tishrei, which is the new year of the world, creation of the world, but this is the new year of the Jews. And we should say one to each other, Happy New Year, because this is our new year, the first day for a lot of things, whether it's the kings and whether it's the festivals, the first day of all kinds of ritual in the temple, sacrifices, and many things are related to the first day of the temple. So, Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Okay, we started to talk about the portion. We spoke a lot about Nisan, the first day of Nisan. Let's talk about the portion. The portion, like you said, we started the book of VeYikra, the book of Leviticus. The first portion is called VeYikra. And the book basically talks, the beginning of the book talks about the sacrifices. And it makes sense. Okay, we spent the last portions of the book of Shemot, of Exodus, talk about the building of the tabernacle and the vessel. Now we're putting everything into practice. We're going to be learning about the sacrifices, all the different types of sacrifices, and it's very intricate. Requires a lot of detail. And I want to, of course, bring down one of Rabbi Khan's famous Torahs on the sacrifices. So you remember the verses talking about when a man wants to bring a sacrifice, and it talks about animal sacrifices. He wants to bring a sacrifice, sin offering. The sin offering is one of the holiest sacrifices because that was really the main idea behind the temple, is that a person, when he sins, he should really, because he violated God's rule, and God is the true king, a person should be put to death. Like anybody who violates the king puts him to death. So, but the King of Kings, God, gave us an alternative, that if we sin, instead of us being put to death, we can bring a sin offering. We bring the sin offering, and we will get repentance. So if a person, let's say, violates the Sabbath, he has to bring a sin offering, and then he's atoned. So a person has to look at that animal, not like it's a piece of meat that he wants to just satiate his animal instinct, but as a proxy for his soul to be saved from the punishment that should be becoming to him. The animal serves a proxy. So now we can understand better the idea of why sacrifice is such a high spiritual ritual, because it's not only it's only for the man, but now it's bringing the animal world, making it holy. So that says when a man brings home. But then a few verses later, it says if a soul sins, he should bring a meal offering, not an animal offering, but a meal offering. A meal offering is obviously not as expensive as an animal. In fact, it's probably very cheap to bring a meal offering. Is some what do you call it, barley, or they grind it up and then they make and they sacrifice the meal offering.
Right.
Yet the meal offering is considered in many ways higher than the animal offering. Now, why is it? As Rabbi Khan says, that who brings a meal offering? A meal offering is bought by somebody who's poor, doesn't have the money to buy an animal or to raise an animal, a goat or a sheep or a cow or an ox. He doesn't have the money to do that. So he's bringing a meal offering. He's bringing the most he could do, most he could afford. And yet, we're told when he does that, it's called nefesh. It's called the soul. Or it's because a person is giving his most. It's like his soul is now being atoned, not the person but the soul. It's a higher service than the rich person is being an animal. So Rabbi kind of said we see the importance of what we call Mesirut Nefesh. Mesirut Nefesh, the same word, the giving of the soul, the Nefesh. That when a person does the maximum he could do, okay, like a poor person who brings a meal offering, even though it has, compared to an animal, it's almost nothing, but yet because that's what he has to eat, and he now giving it to God, he's giving his soul. So a very important lesson that Rabbi Khan gave to us for us to understand the whole concept of Mesirut Nefesh, because that was one of his main focal points. That it's our job to give our souls for the land of Israel, for the God of Israel, for the people of Israel. And we've done that over the years. A lot of our people, a lot of rabbi students, and the rabbi himself, and his son Benjamin, and his daughter-in-law Talia, and so many people who follow Rabbi Khan have given their souls for God, the sanctity of God's name and the land and people in the Torah of Israel. So that's I would say one of the main points Rabbi Khan told. Mayor, what do you think? I'm sure you've heard that before.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm seeing on the one hand, we're advocating for a Jewish state, and the epitome of showing your faith is by being up on IHRA, and because IHRA should be the center for the Jewish people. There's absolutely no question about it. And conversely, we're seeing these protests going on from Tel Aviv and other places where really what they want is the exact opposite of the Jewish idea, the complete opposite. And there is a Torah Parsha that I get the emails from Rabbi Nachman Kahana, Rabbi Meir Kahana's brother. And his latest, what he wrote about that, and he believes it's going to turn around. That what this is, in a sense, a good thing that's going on right now for the Jewish people, because there's a change going on. There's a change for the good, and I see a change going on. I see that the religious community, especially in Israel, is on the rise, and in every single demographic sense, that is the future for the state of Israel, and it has to be. We have people who are representing Israel, Israel advocates throughout the world. And they don't speak about Jewish values, and they don't speak about any kind of definition of what is a Jewish state. That has to change. We need the right people to speak that ideal. In fact, Noah Tishby, who was appointed by Yair Lapid, from the former coalition government, he appointed her to be the envoy for Israel on anti-Semitism. And just last week, she was on a major TV show, Real Time, with Bill Maher, and she says she's pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian. Those are the leaders. Those are the people who are appointed to represent Israel. It's just ridiculous. It's a joke. We need more people. Absolutely. We need more people like Itamar Ben-Gvir, Bezalel Smotrich, others who are speaking the truth, the essence of what it means to have a Jewish state. And that's what it's all about.
Yep, it's unbelievable. Some of these people are working at BDS. Well, they are BDS. It's just incredible. This self-hatred that Jewish people have, they can't get rid of it. It's just absolutely unbelievable. You thought that, okay, when we were in the exile, Jews are under the nation. They have the self-hatred. But they figure, okay, they come to Israel, they have a free state or free army, and it would end. But it doesn't. It just got worse.
Yeah.
It's unless you see here, the self-hatred is worse than I thought anything in America. It's absolutely crazy. It's just unbelievable.
But we need, we're hoping that there will be, a leader, a proper leader that will emerge from the people. And, like we have in this week's Parsha VeYikra, that the first word, Parsha VeYikra, and the Aleph is small to signify the humility of Moshe Rabbeinu. And he was the ultimate leader of the Jewish people, and somehow he was able to persuade the Jews. We need a leader that's, on the one hand.
As interesting what you pointed out,
yes,
the small olive, of course, is the idea of humility that the leader has to have. And there was no humbler person than Moshe, our rabbi, our leader. And I just was reading this morning Rabbi Khan's monumental book, Or Rayon, the light of the idea, the authentic Jewish idea, and he talks exactly about that, about that all of what we see going on today is connected to the haughtiness and the false pride that has been created by a lot to do with how the world has progressed, and man thinks that he's God, and man's not God. That's what God wants to teach us. So he teaches us through earthquakes and calamities and wars and so on, instead of the world understanding that we build a temple, we bring a blessing to the world, and the world will recognize God not through wars and earthquakes and calamities, but they prefer to suffer. And then the Jews and the Jewish people follow the nation. So here we are. We have the answer. It's right before us, as we hear. We see it right before us.
Yep.
Just knock that building down, build a temple, start serving God the way He wants, and we bring redemption to the world, redemption to the Jewish people, to the entire world. And I would like to repeat myself, because Rabbi Kaddish always repeat himself, because it both sinks in at their own time. The rabbis told us that the nations knew how important the temple was to them. They'd surround it with legions of armies and guard it against any attack, because without it, they'd have no blessing.
Mm-hmm.
There's no blessing in the world. And the world would rather attack the Jews, support the so-called Palestinian Nazis, and here we are. But we can't give up. You can't give up. You can't despair.
This past week, Bezalel Smotrich, he made a speech in France, and he said there's no such thing as a distinctive Palestinian people, and there's no Palestine. And the world is going nuts to the point that
Right.
in Jordan,
Right.
they're going completely nuts, and they're saying to sever ties with Israel, and which is probably a good thing for us.
The funniest thing is that when he said, it was said by Golda Meir
Right.
about 50 years ago.
Yes. Yes.
Well, but it's all right for her to say it. But for Bezalel Smotrich to say it, it's going to create World War III.
Right.
It's unbelievable. But the rabbi. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Yeah, the rabbi just blessed that the Jewish people should come back to the land of Israel and settle the entire land,
Amen.
rebuild the temple,
Amen.
and everybody should have health, wealth, and happiness.
Amen.
Well, here we're coming to the end of our weekly Parsha here. We're almost going to be leaving in 2 minutes, and we see here people are singing and they're happy up here. Something that didn't happen in the past years. Jews can sing,
Right.
be happy. I could definitely, as someone who's been coming up for over 30 years, when there were periods of time they'd allow us the maximum 2 people at a time.
Right.
This is a big success.
It's great. It's a big step.
Yeah. Okay, that's just to leave so more people can come up. Like I said, a lot of people. There's one of our Kohanim singing here. So people are bowing down. It's good to see happy Jews.
Amen.
Proud Jews, happy Jews.
Yes.
So the future, like you said, the future's in our hands.
Yes.
Obviously, it's not the usual suspects. A lot of people that don't usually come here today come out especially for the first day of Easter, after the New Year. We have a wedding today. We have John getting married today. It's a very special day, the first of Nisan, to get married.
Yes.
Rabbi Brian, who comes up every day, one of our important rabbis of our organization. Here we go. We've completed another portion of the Torah.
Yep. Excellent, Baruch.
We're moving forward.
We'll do it next
towards
week.
the holiday of Passover.
Yep.
Next week, the portion of Shav.
Yep.
And then we have the week after that, Passover. And then 2 weeks from today, actually. Passover, a lot of people come to the Temple Mount. Unfortunately, this year falls out on the month of Ramadan, as we know.
Yes.
I mentioned that the self-hating Israeli authorities capitulate to the threats of the Arabs, the Muslims, instead of standing up to them, putting them in their place. The day will come. Hopefully, we'll see it in our times.
Yes.
When they do that, when they put them in their place. That's it's interesting. I met yesterday, the other day, Professor Shaul Goodman, who is a Knesset member, together with Rechavam Zevi, the former general in the transfer party, Moledet. And I brought him up to the Temple Mount for the first time years ago. And in fact, he prepared a law for the Temple Mount, a specific law about access to the Jews, conducting an archaeological dig on the Temple Mount to see what's going on underneath the Temple Mount. And of course, it was shut down. It didn't even get past the committee. I don't think he had anybody voted in his behalf. That's how bad it was back then, 30 years ago. But so again, it's good to see progress. It's got to go faster. It's got to move faster. It's got to move. It's got to take place sooner, and because like Rabbi Hanel taught us, there's no time.
Right.
We run out of time, and bad things happen. So you have to speed things up. Okay.
Thank you very much, Baruch. We'll be back with you next week.
Okay, and let's push forward here's more metal detectors. Metal detectors. If you want to come into into the Western Wall Plaza, you gotta go to a metal detector. But if you're a Muslim, you're on the Temple Mount, you don't have to go through a metal detector. Does that make sense?
Oh, God. Not at all.
Huh?
Unbelievable.
Mazel tov. I can't hear it. All right, moving on.
Okay,